Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Tuesday, May 26, 2021. Looking at fire potential impacts over the next few days, we will see an area with gusty winds this afternoon across the southern part of the Great Basin. Those wind speeds will be in that 25 to 30 mile an hour range. Further north, we'll continue to see showers and cooler weather. As we move into Wednesday, that area of winds becomes more isolated to southeastern Utah. And then by Thursday, we will see no significant impacts. Over the past 24 hours, there has been a bit of precipitation across portions of northern Utah, northern Nevada, and Idaho, as well as some lightning. Fire activity continues across the Great Basin. You can see the new and existing fires on the map here. Over the past 14 days, things have been pretty wet across the northern part of the Great Basin, relatively wet compared to the really dry winter that we've had. You can see a pretty large area of Nevada that has seen above normal precipitation. And across the northern part of the Great Basin, we have been close to normal over the 2-week period. The ERCs across the northern and central parts of the Great Basin have come down. Most of them are below the 50th percentile, but further south, where conditions have been drier, ERCs are still in that 70 to 90th percentile range. If we look at how those ERCs have trended across the north, where things have been cooler and wetter, those ERCs came down pretty significantly with the last storm, and we're looking at ERCs below normal. However, further south, where things have been drier, we are close to maximum values for the time of the year. The satellite this morning shows some cloud cover in place with the weather disturbance making its way through the Great Basin. Taking a look at that upper level pattern, you can see a weather system making its way through the northern part of the Great Basin that will bring cooler, more unsettled weather to the north and those gusty winds to the south. No significant impacts on our significant fire potential map today. If we look at the wind forecast in more detail, you can see the area of gusty winds expected this afternoon. Relative humidities will be higher across the northern and central part of the Great Basin, and so the only area with the potential for some borderline critical fire weather conditions is further south, where those relative humidities line up with the gustier winds. As we move into Wednesday, that weather system makes its way out of the Great Basin. We do see some drying in the wake of that system. Looking at the potential for some gusty winds across the southern part of the Great Basin, but again, kind of borderline critical fire weather values. We will see very dry conditions across the southern part of the Great Basin on Wednesday. And then moving into Thursday, looking at another weather system making its way into the Pacific Northwest. Across the Great Basin, we will see a warming and drying trend further south. Looking at that in more detail, you can see some pretty gusty winds expected across Nevada and southwestern Idaho ahead of that approaching system. Relative humidities will be a little higher in those areas, but we could see some borderline critical conditions there with those relative humidities hovering right around 15%. Over the next 3 days, any precipitation that we do see will be confined mainly to Idaho. As we move into Friday, that weather system makes its way to the north of the Great Basin. We'd expect to see some winds pick up a bit across the northern and central part of the Great Basin as that system moves through. And then as we move into Saturday, still keeping moisture in place across the north, some more unsettled weather, the potential for some elevated winds across the central and southern part of the Great Basin on Saturday. And then as we move into Sunday, just continuing that pattern of unsettled weather across the north with some elevated winds across the south. And finally, as we go into Monday, again, just keeping that unsettled weather system in place with some moisture possible further south into the Great Basin. In the 7-day period, really, you can see the moisture remains confined to the northern part of the Great Basin with the potential for isolated precipitation across the higher terrain of Nevada and Utah. In the 8 to 14-day period, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for above normal temperatures and below normal precipitation. So it looks like we will continue to see a warm, dry pattern into the beginning of June. And that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can also find us on Twitter. Thanks.